Welcome to Invisible Strings, where we tug at the little threads that hold our lives together. From mental health and relationships to marriage, motherhood, and all the beautiful chaos in between. I'm Katie, your guide to navigating life's tangled web, one string at a time. Think of this as your weekly dose of insight, sprinkled with a bit of laughter, some heartfelt chats, and maybe even a happy tear or two. So, whether you're juggling a million things or you just need a break, let's untangle life together, because those invisible strings, they're what keep us connected. This is Invisible Strings. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to Invisible Strings. I'm your host, Katie, and wow, today's episode is one I've been sitting with for a while. Actually, God's been sitting me with it. Because today we're talking about what happened when God shakes your entire life upside down, not to punish you, but to wake you up. But before we dive in, I want to take a minute to recap last week's episode with Elise, because honestly, it was so holy. If you missed the story of her mom's legacy, go back and listen. It's one of the most beautiful illustrations of how God weaves generations together. Last week, Elise shared her mom Ruth's story with us, a story that still has me thinking days later. The way that Ruth lived, her faith, her strength, her tenderness, left a mark so deep that her granddaughter at 7 years old has already raised enough money to put wells in a community in Rwanda. She raised enough money to build a home in Rwanda, and now her new goal of $30,000, which I'm sure she's going to surpass, will be to build more homes in this incredible town in Rwanda. 7 years old, you guys. That right there is in Proverbs 22:6. Lived out. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I think that Ruth and Mark did an amazing job with that, and now Elise and Shane are doing the same. What Elise shared reminded us legacy isn't what you leave for people, it's what you leave in them. And the invisible strings between mothers and daughters, between heaven and earth, and between grief and purpose. You guys, only God can weave something like that. Part of Elisa's story last week was talking about this workbook that she created called Serving Made Simple. This workbook includes 18 unique kid-led serve ideas to build a rhythm of generosity in your home. And it's phenomenal, you guys. It has everything you need in it. It has responses to text messages and to emails. It's literally everything is done for you. She charges $28 for this. It's something that you can go online, and I'll link it on my page here, but it's something that you can go online and download right from your computer. And she's given us a code for 40% off, which is so generous. And you guys should check it out because it's incredible. It's so easy to use. She's made it so friendly, so user-friendly. And I think you'll really enjoy it. So if you have a chance, go check it out. The code is strings40 for 40% off. STRINGS 40 for 40% off. Go take a look at it, download it. If you end up doing some of these, I would love to hear about your story and what happens. And I just want to know. So just let me know if you end up doing it. And that story, that legacy, was the perfect setup for what we're talking about today. One last thing though, we have to talk about Friday night, our Shine Teens Friendsgiving Invisible Crowns. Oh my gosh. If you were there, you know. And if you weren't there, imagine 67 girls. Yeah, 67. That was literally the number. Girls walking into a room that felt like heaven had just slid its chairs up to the table. I got to co-chair this event with Sarah Hebb, and God knew exactly what he was doing pairing us together. And then Jules, our fearless leader, the woman who has led Shine with so much grace and obedience as we've officially become a 501c3 this year, she just set the tone for the whole night. It was amazing. We talked about friendship and worth and invisible crowns, the ones God says are ours, even when we forget we're wearing them. Isaiah 62:3 says, "You will be crowned of splendor in the Lord's hand." And that's exactly what those girls looked like. We had vendors come out, volunteers who served like family, moms who sacrificed their Friday nights, and every single detail felt like God himself was arranging the flowers. You guys, we made flower crowns. They were so beautiful and such a hit with these girls. The girls laughed and they shared. Some of them had breakthroughs. We killed it on the karaoke stage. Imagine this. The very last song, Jules and I are like, we're going to sing a praise song. So we sing praise. And we started just two of us, and then another girl came up, and then before you knew it, the entire stage was filled with girls singing praise. And it was amazing. It just reminded me how hungry this generation is for truth, real truth, and for connection and for Jesus. And then that brings me to today, because this year we've been building Shine. We've been raising girls. We've been trying to be women who live with invisible crowns. And God has been doing something inside of me. He hasn't just been polishing my crown. He's been shaking me up. Okay, so let's start with this. I saw this analogy online and I loved it so much. I went and actually bought this syrup bottle because I thought it was actually so profound. And I ended up giving this talk to some girls in the middle school at the middle school retreat for Shine Teens this summer, and it was a hit. So I had this syrup bottle. It looks like a regular syrup bottle, but there's glitter inside of it. But when it's just sitting on the shelf, it doesn't look like anything. It's just kind of boring. Looks like all the rest of the syrup. But when you shake it up, like really shake it up, the sparkles come out and it just sparkles and shines. And I mean, it's catching light and sparkling and swirling, and it's amazing. And one day I felt like God whispered to my spirit, Katie, you've been praying to shine, but shining actually requires shaking. Does anyone else like to be shaken up? No, I don't think so. We don't like the shaking. We resist it. I know I resist it. We want stability, predictability, and comfort, obviously. But here's the truth with that. Comfort never creates sparkle. It actually just creates settling. And we actually aren't called to be comfortable here on earth. We're called to be shaken up. We're called to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And that's not comfortable. In Hebrews 12, it says, God shakes things up so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Meaning, he shakes off the things that weren't meant to stay. And in James 1, it tells us that shaking produces perseverance and maturity. And finally, in 1 Peter 1, it says our faith is refined like gold through fire. These are three verses that I have been hanging on to for the last 2 years, and I've seen so much fruit from them. God shakes us to loosen what's stuck, to wake what's asleep, to reveal what's hidden, to strengthen what's weak, and to align us back to him. Sometimes we're really stubborn and he has to shake really hard. If he never shook you, you'd never see what he was planted inside of you, what he made you for. Quitting the job, selling the house, getting rid of the stuff, slowing down, focusing on your kids, obedience, and the podcast. Let me tell you about my own shaking season. Not long ago, I was doing everything: a corporate job, running, producing, achieving, building, buying, trying to hold everything together with this go, go, go mentality. And God kept whispering, slow down, look at your kids, return to your first ministry, your home. Let me redirect you. Let go, simplify, trust me. But I ignored it because my life looked successful, busy, yes, but in my mind, busy meant productive. Busy meant purposeful. Busy felt comfortable. When I was busy, I wasn't anxious. When I was busy, I wasn't thinking. It was just on to the next thing, until one day, God shook me so hard that every single area of my life felt like it had flipped upside down. He told me to quit my job, to sell my house, to get rid of the excess, the noise, the stuff, the distractions, the bad friendships. He told me to focus on my kids. He told me to build what he asked me to build, which included this podcast. I talked about this podcast for 2 years, mostly in secret. In Isaiah 48:10, it says, I have refined you in the furnace of suffering, not the furnace of comfort, the furnace of shaking. And in Psalms 139, it says, search me, O God, test me, reveal anything that's not of you. And that's exactly what he did. I remember being on my knees praying. I think it was the first time. I felt like I was completely out of control. I felt like I had nothing left. I felt like I was losing everything. He showed me the voids I was trying to fill with money, achievements, validation, schedules, to-do lists, and distractions. He showed me that things I thought were holding my life together were actually the things strangling my peace. And when I say strangling, I'm strangling. He called me to a season of stripping down so he could build me back up. And he has been so faithful. I can tell you personally, my life 2 years ago bared no fruit. And now it's overflowing. Every single day I wake up so excited for who I'm going to meet, what God's going to reveal, what's going to happen. It's like a feeling I cannot really adequately explain. In John 15:2, he says he prunes the branches that are bearing fruit so that they can bear even more. He pruned my job. He pruned my house. He pruned my schedule. He pruned my priorities. He pruned my comfort. And it hurt. I won't lie. Obedience is rarely convenient. But like I said, oh my goodness, the peace that followed, I can't explain it. Incredibly fulfilling and beautiful. And I have no fear. You guys need to hear this because I learned it the hard way. The enemy does not attack us when we're sleeping spiritually. He attacks us when we're waking up. When my girlfriend Jules got baptized, one of her friends said to her, "This is when the enemy comes hard. So just be aware." You need to hear this because I learned it the hard way. The enemy doesn't attack us when we're asleep spiritually. He attacks us when we're waking up. Have you ever heard that when you get baptized, that's when the enemy is going to attack even harder? Well, when my girlfriend Jules got baptized, she was told that. She was told to be aware because things could start getting really weird. In 1 Peter 5:8, it says, he prowls around looking for someone to devour, and he's strategic. And in John 10:10, it says he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. When God told me to quit my job, the enemy whispered, "That's irresponsible. You're making a mistake. Who do you think you are? You're really going to try to do a podcast? No one's going to listen to it." When God told me to simplify my life, the enemy said, "You're falling behind. Everyone else is growing and you're shrinking. You don't have $10 million in your bank account. You're never going to make it." When God told me to focus on my kids and on what he wanted, the enemy said, "You're not enough. Your kids need more than you can give. Your purpose is pointless." Do you know what my kids said they wanted to do for Christmas this year? My kids, all 4 of them, between the ages of 9 and 16. They want to go on a mission trip. So every time the enemy tried to whisper a lie, God countered with truth. "Be still and know that I am God. I will never leave you nor forsake you. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. My plans for you are good. You are chosen. You are mine. You are my workmanship." Trusting God while everything is shaking feels impossible. But here's what I learned. Remember who's holding you. Psalms 46 says, "God is our refuge, even if the earth gives way." You guys, we are not shaking alone. I learned to not rush the process. In James 1:4, it says, "Perseverance must finish its work." Sparkling and being refined, it takes time. This next one was my favorite. Need community. Galatians 6 says to carry one another's burdens. You need a community of safe people who point you back to God, people who love you unconditionally. Community is so important. We love our spouses, obviously, but we need girlfriends. We need real women who will fight for you and will carry those burdens with you. They're not going to try to fix it for you. They're just going to try to help you, point you to Jesus. And the last one, look for the sparkle moments. Romans 8:28 says God works all things for his good. He'll leave little glimmers along the way. What do I call them? God winks. I see them every single day. If you're looking for them, you'll find them. I think this is the part that makes me the most emotional, is that the sparkle that God revealed in the shaking was inside me the whole time. Kind of like that syrup bottle. It just needs to be shaken up to be seen. It's all in his timing, though. In Ephesians 2:10, it says, "We are his workmanship, his masterpiece." He also says we are chosen, royal, his possessions. That's in 1 Peter 2:9. The shaking didn't create my sparkle. It just revealed what was buried. And I think that's in a lot of us. I think that a lot of us have so much inside of them to give. They just feel stuck. They don't know how to do it. They need that confidence. Honestly, you need God. You need to open up that Bible. You need to get into a Bible study. You need to find friends that continuously speak life into you. I want to pray over you guys today. God, for the women listening who feel upside down, can you remind her that you hold her, strengthen her, you refine her, show her the sparkle inside of her, and let her know that shaking is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. Get excited about shaking. It's exciting to get interested in what God's doing in your life and all around you. It's exciting to recognize that it's Him that's doing it. It's exciting to wake up every day and see what's going to happen next. I've never been more excited because the God wings get more and they get bigger and they get louder. And quite honestly, God has such an incredible personality. And I know that it's not always amazing. It's not always fun. It's not always incredible. My perspective of it's completely changed. Friends, if this episode touched you, send it to someone else who's in a shaking season. You never know how far one invisible string can stretch. I love you. I'm cheering for you. And I'll see you next week on Invisible Strings. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Invisible Strings, where we've tugged at a few threads and hopefully left you with a smile and something to think about. Remember, life's connections might be invisible, but they're oh so strong. If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little string pulling in their life. Until next time, keep those invisible strings intact, and I'll see you back here soon for more heartfelt conversations and a dash of fun. Stay connected, stay kind, and keep untangling.